Thank you so much for your various comments, and thank you particularly Piccalillipit, who says about the news that the Labour Party plans to abolish the hereditary peers. He says, or she says, the hereditary peers are not the problem. It's the crony peers appointed by the political parties. A lot of alliteration there, and very apt. Absolutely. The problem is not the hereditary peers. The abolition of the hereditary peers is really a sort of class ideology obsession. That is not the problem, and the Labour Party needs to see beyond this tunnel vision. The hereditary peers work hard and contribute to the debate. The problem is the political cronies who are appointed with a backslapping stab into the heart of the democratic process. The cronyism is the problem, not the hereditary peerage. I entirely agree the hereditary peerage is a relic of an older age, but in fact, the hereditary peerage gives us one of the most extraordinary elections every so often when one of the peers departs and there's an election for the next one from a very small group of people who put themselves forward. These individuals are committed to public life, and that is something that I think needs to be considered over, for example, the cronyism that gives us Baroness Moon or Baroness Moan. I've forgotten how to pronounce her name now. It's the cronyism that gives us Lord Lebedev, and the youngest, well, and until she was replaced by a Labour peer, the youngest peer in the House of Lords, appointed by Boris Johnson, or promoted by Boris Johnson. It's that level of cronyism which is the problem and which needs to go. And I'm not convinced that an elected chamber is the way forward, because that gives us the same problems that we've got with an elected Commons, a house that is looking over its shoulder at the next election and what it can say to appease, bribe, or somehow cajole the electorate into voting for them again. I think if there's going to be any form of election to the House of Lords, it needs to be a one-off election that cannot be renewed. So giving people only a one term in office, but that equally, by the time people have adjusted to the requirements of the House of Lords and got used to the way it works, that will be the end of their office. People in political life normally only get into the swing of their job in their second term. And so maybe the term needs to be for quite a lengthy period. And maybe it needs to be more than just an election. There needs to be an element of proposition and recommendation as well as election. So maybe something not dissimilar to a leadership race, but from a broader catchment. And once one abolishes the hereditary peers, it makes the position of the Crown questionable. Now, that may equally be something that some members of the Labour Party may want. I'm not sure that reflects the spirit of the country, and that is a question. So, yes, the knee-jerk response is the abolition of the hereditary peers, because that seems the most undemocratic aspect of the House of Lords. But that's looking at the House of Lords without looking. Look more closely, and you will see that it's the hereditary peers who form the backbone of the debating forces in the House of Lords, and then there's a core of principled individuals who are active in the House of Lords in a non-partisan way, and I think that is the formula. The political parties need to be abolished in the House of Lords, and only when that happens will we have a second chamber that can genuinely work. Political parties need to go. And maybe that will also lead the way for a slightly more diverse representation in the House of Commons as well.